Although I've become a very bad wife, probably, because I'm never home. But there you go. I
Tell
can't
us,
have everything.
tell
you
us
know what I
about
mean?
that. You know, how did
yeah,
you
no,
handle
I mean, I always say I'm married.
I mean, you've got 4 children.
I do, absolutely. Running from 15 down to 7. We've just finished our first state exam in the house, so the junior cert.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so funny, I can still remember my own junior cert and the questions, and then you see the papers, you feel sick. You know, poor Lauren would come home with the papers, and you look at them and you go, oh God, it's just, and it's so intense. It's 2 papers a day for about a week at junior cert level. And you just think, God, how is my baby doing this thing? But she did. So it's really busy in our household. I have really loads of support. I mean, people always, you know, that's why I feel such a fraud, and I always feel really guilty. People say, well, how do you do it all? And I say, well, I don't actually. I have to be hands up. I have an amazing husband. He's a dentist, but he has been more flexible in his career and being able to run it around the children. He's an extraordinary father, and he will pick children up from school, and he somehow manages to balance this practice and a whole lot of paperwork and everything that goes with it, with picking up children from school and doing stuff. I mean, yesterday they were all off in Cardiff at the Doctor Who experience. We're big into Doctor Who in our house, so that was a big thing. But, you know, so I've been very lucky, and I have known that I suppose he's at home in the afternoons, you know, with the children, and he's there. But he's done a lot of the parenting and sitting down doing homework, and I've been really lucky because not everyone has that. Not every woman has a man who is able and who's so brilliant at it, and who is so willing, and who is so unselfish.
It's fantastic. I had that as well, and you know, that's what made the difference, because the child always had a parent available, so that was brilliant. But still, in all, there must have been times, you know, particularly when you were maybe in your, you know, your late 20s, early 30s, the childbearing years and whatever, and you were right in there at the most difficult and demanding part of your training, and then to be available, and it must have been a massive pressure.
I think that is the problem, because you're right, it all hits at the same time, you see. So you're having your babies and your career is at its steepest curve. You know, you're at a very steep learning curve, and one of the problems with surgical specialties, medicine, is that you can't take a gap for 4 years and come back and start again. So you can't, you know, drop out. Although I did at one point, I decided I had enough. I was too tired, and I just thought, I can't see my way through this. I just had my 3rd baby, and I remember just thinking, and I probably had a bit of postnatal depression, I'm not sure, but I remember just thinking, I can't quite imagine how I'm going to negotiate these next few months, how I'm going to keep working, keep training, keep doing these exams, keep writing the papers. I'm never going to be competitive. And the one very difficult thing for us is you've no guarantee of a job. I mean, if you're in a bank, for example, and doing very well, you still will have your job doing very well. I know, I only said that, I thought, God, what an example to give. Those tapes, we get on to those tapes, it's so upsetting, isn't it? It just makes you so cross. I just can't listen anyway. But anyway, if you're in another job that is a reasonable structure in a company and not a banker, I know, I mean, there's nice people in banks too, we have to be careful. But I think that you have a job and you can progress or you can stay, but with us it's all or nothing. You know, if you come to the end of your training and you don't get a consultant post, that's it, there's no job. You know, that's it. You've got to go away, you've got to go abroad, you've got to do something, but there's no job. So you have no guarantee. And one of the things I found hardest was at 2 points in my career, I had to leave the family and go away, once to Birmingham. And these are steps you have to take in your career, and you just think, God, you know, what kind of person am I? Like, what is the bottom line for me in terms of progressing your career, and how do you leave your children, and how do they feel? See, it's bad enough for you, but then you think, God, it's actually young children who have to bear the burden of this. And all of a sudden, it's not you who's suffering from your decisions, it's actually other people. And that becomes incredibly difficult. And the worst of it is, you don't even know whether this will lead to anything, and you think you could put your family through all of this and turn around and not have a job. And that for me was that's the real senior red stage, when you just really begin to doubt your existence and you just think, where would this be?
Yeah, I remember when I commuted to England for about a year and a half, and Emily was about 2, coming up to 2, and I'd leave in the morning at 6 to catch the early plane over, and she'd hear the door close, and I'd hear her start to cry upstairs. I wake in the night sometimes still, you know.
It's physical. I mean, I used to cry all the way. There's a poor person in the muffin counter in Birmingham Airport who just, you'd see this woman every Monday bawling her way through the airport. Oh, you know, and I used to do one step at a time, and I used to always say to myself, and of course the first thing you're greeted with in Birmingham in the red-eye flight is the flight to Dublin. You know, so you just land and then they call for flight to Dublin, you know, and you just go, oh, I want to be on that flight, you know, and you just think, and I just used to pace myself. I walk to the end of this corridor, and then if I really can't do it, I'll go back on the plane, and I'll go back, and then I'd walk another bit, and then you're into work, and, you know, it was okay.
But you didn't, you know, this big debate here at the moment about people having to go away to train up. in their specialties. You didn't have to spend years away.
No, I didn't. I was, funny enough, the first fellow in fetal maternal medicine, which is my area of specialty. We set up Hollis Street set up a training program aligned with the Royal College of Obstetricians in London. So essentially I'm doing the same course, but it's in Ireland. So we were accepted. I was very lucky because we had sort of 3 fetal medicine consultants at the time, and I had them all to myself, you know, whereas often in London when you go, you have a large number of fellows and you're vying for your place in the sun, whereas I had everybody devoted to me, and similarly when I went to Birmingham, so it was fantastic. Going away is a good thing, I think, however. I mean, although I spent a short time away, it was really valuable to see how another system works. And people used to give out about the NHS, you know, and I went over and saying, God, they have so many doctors. I mean, I couldn't get over it. They had 3 times the number of doctors we have. I remember going down to my first high-risk clinic, and I looked at the list, and there was 55 high-risk women coming. These would be women that would have quite complex disorders, and, you know, they need quite a bit of time and quite a lot of expertise. And I'm going, oh my God, we all better get stuck in. So I've rolled up my sleeves, and then the tea trolley arrives. And I'm going, and people start pouring tea. I'm thinking, well, you know, what are you all doing? You can't have tea. We've got 55 patients to get through, you know. And then I discover all these doctors arriving to the tea trolley, and there's like 10. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, in Ireland you'd have 1, and you might have an SHO and a reg, and you'll be battling your way through this. So I couldn't get over the number of staff they had and the resources. And they thought, you know, this is the awful NHS that has nothing. And I thought, gosh.
Yeah.
And that was very important, to see how it can be, maybe to see in places how it should be. And I think you learn an awful lot. And I was old enough to be looking at not just my day-to-day job. I was old enough to be looking at how they ran the department, who was in charge of the hospital, how they ran their governance, how they ran everything. And
but the thing you did notice was that they had a lot more doctors and a lot more consultants, I suppose.
They really did. They 3 times.